When myths whisper, scream, or sing, they often speak of subtle transitions between life and death, between animal and human, between this world and the next. The following creatures come from different cultures, but there is something that unites them. They bring messages that are older than language and more powerful than reason. Number 7. Banshee. An apparition from Irish folklore. A ghostly female figure who announces death through her mournful wail. Her name comes from Beanside, which means woman of the fairy realm. Depending on the region, she appears as an old woman with disheveled hair, a beautiful young woman with a pale face, or as an invisible voice in the wind. It is said that she manifests especially in old families, often in cemeteries or near water. From a scientific perspective, the banshee could be seen as a collective expression of the grieving process, a myth that gives a recognizable form to the idea of impending death. Her mournful wail is the echo of the deep fear of loss, of change, and of the silence that follows life. In some accounts, it is acoustically explained by animal sounds, such as the nocturnal cry of the barn owl or the barking of foxes, which can echo eerily across the Irish landscape. The banshee is not a direct threat, rather, she is an omen, a haunting sound that echoes between worlds. Number 6. Gorgon. These are three sisters from Greek mythology, but only one of them, Medusa, achieved true immortal fame. With snake hair and a fixed gaze that turns people to stone, she became the symbol of deadly beauty. Originally, the Gorgons were terrifying sea demons, chaotic and wild forces from the ancient primordial world. Only later did Medusa, the most well-known of the Gorgons, become a tragic figure, cursed by the goddess Athena and eventually killed by the hero Perseus. The Gorgon is a symbol of dangerous femininity, of the unbearable nature of the gaze, of the confrontation with truth, trauma, and the abyss. Her head was used on shields as a form of defense and in temples as a symbol of protection. Biologically, the idea of the deadly gaze can be reminiscent of snakes, whose stare instinctively provokes flight or paralysis in the animal kingdom, an evolutionary legacy. The Gorgon is like a mirror. Whoever she reaches will see themselves reflected in their paralysis, their terror, and their helplessness. Number 5. Makara. A creature from Hindu and Buddhist mythology. A hybrid creature of land and aquatic animal, depicted with an elephant's trunk, a fish's tail, and the powerful body of a crocodile. In India, the Makara often serves as the mount of divine beings, such as Varuna or Ganga. Its form is ever-changing, sometimes with the head of a dolphin, sometimes with a scaly body, griffin's legs, or dragon's wings. This ambiguity makes it fascinating. It unites opposites, water and earth, animal and deity, strength and fluidity. In some temples, the Makara can be found at the doors as a guardian of the threshold between the world and the cosmos. Zoologists point to possible real-life models, such as the Ganges gavials, primitive crocodiles, or freshwater dolphins that inhabit the Indian region but are rarely seen. In them, the strange merges with the sacred and reminds us that what seems strange often leads to the origin. Number 4. Tengu. A legendary Japanese creature, half human, half bird, with a red face and a long nose. Originally feared as an evil mountain spirit, his image transformed over the centuries into that of an ambiguous guardian. He lives in secluded forests, masters an excellent martial art, seduces monks into vanity, and punishes arrogance. The Tengu, in its evolution, reflects the tension between nature and culture. It embodies wild nature, but also the wisdom that arises from seclusion. Some interpretations consider it to be a symbol of excessive ego or self-importance, while others see it as a clever and cunning master. Biologically, it resembles birds of prey such as the black kite or buzzards, which soar over the forests of Japan. Their silhouettes at dusk may have served as inspiration for mysterious, winged figures. The Tengu is a fascinating test. Those who climb the mountain do not encounter evil but themselves. Number 3. Selkie. They come from the legends of Scotland and Ireland. Seals that, during the full moon, shed their skins and walk as humans on dry land. In most situations, it is women who are bound against their will. A man steals her skin and she is left without access to the sea, to freedom, to herself. The Selkie myth is deeply melancholic. It deals with uprooting, a sense of loss, and yearning and longing. Psychologically, it represents the loss of identity, especially of female figures who often must submit to social roles. The connection with seals is evident. Their deep gaze, almost human movements on land, and gentle haunting calls can seem almost supernatural at dusk. Especially on remote islands, where the line between reality and legend can often blur together, the Selkie becomes a kind of bridge between the elements. She is not a threat. She is what humans have taken and wish to return, but only when it is already too late. Number 2. Cupid. Most people probably know him as Amor, the Roman god of love. A child with wings, a bow, and arrows who strikes hearts at random and sets them alight. But as harmless as he may seem, his power is just as dangerous. He unites desire, passion, and chaos. His Greek counterpart Eros was, in early depictions, a powerful and significant primordial god. He was not a childlike figure, but rather embodied a wild, untamed, and creative energy. Only later did Cupid become a chubby child, the mascot of romantic ideas. Psychologically, he symbolizes the unconscious, the sudden attraction that guides our actions without us understanding it. Neurologically, researchers discuss in detail hormonal mechanisms in the human brain that trigger falling in love, such as dopamine, oxytocin, and adrenaline. Cupid doesn't actually shoot arrows, but his effect is measurable. Love, when it finds us, follows no plan. Cupid represents the unpredictable, that which arises when control fails and feeling takes over. Number 1. Lindworm. A classic dragon creature from Central Europe. Generally serpent-shaped with 2 legs, with or without wings, but always imposing and formidable. It lives in caves, guards treasures, and devours maidens and entire cities. The term worm comes from the Old High German word worm, which means the same as serpent or dragon. Paleontologists who study ancient life through fossils suspect that the myth of the Lindworm arose from the discovery of fossils of large vertebrates, such as mammoth or extinct rhinoceros bones. Their skulls, with large cavities and horns, could have been interpreted as dragon skulls by people in the past. The Lindworm is not an intelligent creature. It is a natural phenomenon that has taken form. Floods, landslides, or diseases were attributed to it. Thus, the Lindworm becomes a symbol of the incomprehensible and the challenge for the hero who faces it.